We're on Lesson 9, Part 3. Control-click the thumbnail and the Frankenstein layer to select it. Okay. Make sure Layer 1 is selected in the Layers panel. So I have not gone through and created that. Well, I did go through and create that new layer, but I deleted it earlier. So there's my Layer 1, and it's selected. And then use the brush tool to paint over the hands and arms. You can paint quickly where the hands are against the transparent area because painting outside this selection has no effect. However, remember the shirt is part of the selection, so you need to be more careful as you paint the skin where it's close to the shirt. So we're going to use that paintbrush. You can go really quickly over your... My opacity is back to 90%. So I need to reset my paintbrush settings. I'm going to go to Edit, step back, make sure the paintbrush settings are okay. So I'm going to click on here. Hardness is 0, 60. Oh, okay. This needs to be color. That's why it wasn't working the way that I wanted it to. We're going to color over that. Go right over those bracelets, don't worry about that. But here's where you want to go kind of slow because you don't want to cover the shirt. And then you're going to get the part of the face that's still flesh colored. Okay. When you're happy with the green skin, choose Select, Deselect. Make sure all the layers are visible, and then let's expand our layers panel. Make sure all the layers are visible, then choose Merge Visible from the Layers panel menu. Here's the Layers panel menu. That's the menu. Click on that, and then we're going to go to Merge Visible. Now we have one layer, and this is an instance where it's okay to do that. Rename Layer 1 as Monster Layer. Or just Monster. Choose File, Open. Navigate to open the backdrop file in the Lessons 9 folder. So we need to go back to the common drive. Here's your backdrop file. Choose Window, Arrange, 2 up vertical. Window, Arrange, and then 2 up vertical to display both the monster and the backdrop files. Click on the 09 working file to make it active. Select the Move tool. Drag the monster layer and drop it into the backdrop file. Position the monster so that its hands are just above the movie title. It looks like the pinky on mine has been cut off. And I think that the reason why it's been cut off is, let me go to, I'll show you why. I'm going to go to Window, Workspace, and then Reset Essentials. That's not what I wanted. We're going to consolidate to tabs, and then I'm going to go back to my layers And we're going to go to Edit, Step Back. We're going to step back one more time so that we have all of our layers here. And before I merge them, I'm going to zoom out so that the pinky is not cut off. Let's go back to my layers, make sure I'm in Frankenstein layer. Oh, I see why. Well, there's not a whole lot I can do about that. Okay, so I hit pause to see if I could go back and fix his pinky, the fact that it's cut off a little bit, and it looks like there's no way I can go back and fix that because when I originally altered this image, I took it off of the side a little bit. So those are the kind of things you want to check for when you do your work. I made a mistake. I'm going to try and cover it up in the future. We'll see what we can do. Okay, so choose File, and we're going to go to Save As, and we're going to call this, you need to make sure you go back to your H drive, and then your computer graphics, go to your book project folder, and you're going to call this Movie / Poster, and then save it as a Photoshop file, and then click Save. Hit OK. And we are ready to go on to page 222, Applying Filters and Effects. In Photoshop, choose File, Open, navigate to the Lesson 9 folder, and double-click the T1 PSD file to open it. In the Tool panel, click the default foreground and background color icon. So here's your foreground and background. This little swatch means it's the default. So if you click on that, it'll switch them and make them the way that they're supposed to look. Choose Filter, Render, Difference Clouds. Filter, Render, Difference Clouds. Number 5, choose Filter, Blur Gallery, Iris Blur. Filter, Blur Gallery, Iris Blur. In the image window, drag the Iris Blur ellipse so that the top of the tombstone is in focus. Ooh, cool. All right. And then hit OK. Click the Brightness Contrast icon in the Adjustments panel. I'm looking to see, oh, there's my adjustments. And then Brightness Contrast. Then in the Properties panel, move the brightness slider to 70, or you can just highlight it and type 70. Click the Channel Mixer icon in the Adjustments panel. If you hover, it'll tell you what it is. Channel Mixer, I'm not sure which one that is. There it is. Let's bring that down a little bit. In the Properties panel, choose Green from the Output channel. Green. And then change the green value to 37. the blue value to 108. And there you go. In the exposure icon in the adjustments panel, in the properties panel, move the exposure slider to a positive 0.90. Exposure is 0.90. Okay. To brighten the image, to brighten the lighter areas of the image. I'm going to put a little plus here just to make sure. Oh, it won't let me. Okay. Oh, there we go. So if I slide it, I can go to 0.90. 91 is fine. Okay. Choose Window. And it wants us to go to our History panel. History, to open the History panel, drag to the bottom of the panel down so that you can see everything on it, which we can already see everything on it. Click the Blur Gallery State in the History panel. That's what we were at earlier in the History panel. So now we're back to just what we were. We just went back into History. And then click Modify Channel Mixer Layer in the History panel. I'm going to move that over for a minute. Modify Channel Mixer. Okay. And then click the Difference Clouds in the History panel. I think it just wants you to see how you can go back into History and change things around a little bit. Okay. Choose Filter, Noise, Add Noise. In the Add Noise dialog box, set the amount to 3%. Select Gaussian. And select Monochromatic. And then hit OK.